10,000 is a really big number, and that is the number of subscribers that you have helped this channel to reach and pass, which is completely mind-blowing to me. So I really want to say thank you. I want to take a few moments, do a nice thank you message, and I thought that a fun way to celebrate this milestone would be to do a quick behind the scenes, maybe not so quick, but a behind the scenes of how I typically produce one of my videos from start to finish. So if you just want to jump straight into the how-to nuts and bolts of how I produce a video, just head over to this point in time. Otherwise, I really want to take a moment and just say how appreciative I am to every single person who has helped support this channel over the last 2.5 years. It's crazy. It's my favorite part of digital media. Like, I grew up as somebody that very much felt like an outsider and like I didn't belong and didn't fit in. And that was before YouTube and before digital video and before all that stuff. And the idea that you can just go onto your computer, click a button to open up a new account and then just start sharing stuff with the entire world, and that there are people out there who will sign up to hear what you have to say and to enjoy the stuff that you're making is crazy. And that there are 10,000 of those people out there is like almost terrifying, but in a really humbling, really good way. And it really feels like very recently that I was celebrating my 50 subscriber live stream, where for some reason I was like spray painting something in a garage. I don't know, it was sort of a mess, but from start to finish with basically 200 videos and 10,000 people, I really like, it's tough to put into words just how grateful I am and how exciting that is. And the biggest, most rewarding part is when you make videos, you put them out into the world, and you know, it's easy to sort of have a disconnect with the idea that there are actually people out there watching them, like human beings. And so, especially over the past few months, I really feel like this community has started to emerge. That I've heard the horror stories of YouTube where, you know, there's the YouTube comments and the internet and all those things, and I definitely get some of those, but the vast majority of people that I've met, that I've talked to, that I've messaged with through this channel have all been people who are like absolutely incredible, that I'm privileged to even be able to talk to or share skills with or just like make jokes with. And it's awesome that there's this shared interest of like video production, camera gear, whatever it is that brings us all together and lets us enjoy something and be excited, be enthusiastic about something together. And I have such a good time making these videos that I just have no plans to stop. It's sort of just embedded into my life at this point. And so just thank you times 1,000. I hope every person who's been a part of this knows how much I appreciate that, because every person is an entire person with an entire life, an entire perspective. And if you want to dedicate any of your extremely valuable time to sharing it with stuff that I want to make, I am very humbled by that. So, with no further ado, let's jump into how I make one of my videos. That's something that I've actually gotten asked a few times, and it's really flattering because I've always been somebody wondering how other people make their videos, and so to have that question asked of me felt like, I don't know, it was really cool. For this channel, I do everything myself. My fiance Heather does help out with like idea conceptualization. If I have my list of ideas, I kind of run them by her, and she sort of helps me formulate it sometimes into something that maybe makes a little more sense or is a little more interesting. And then she's also my like final critique person. So when I'm done with a video, before I upload it or even before I export it, I run it by her just so I can get some feedback and perspective. And that's something I think is really important. If you're able to get that feedback before putting a video up on YouTube, I think that's a hugely beneficial thing to do. Other than that, everything is just done by me, and I'm a full-time high school digital media teacher, so that takes a lot of hours throughout the week, and basically just any free time, nights and weekends kind of just go into making videos for this channel. Maybe that's not super healthy, but I love making videos, so it's like the thing that I would want to be doing anyway. And basically, I've just divided the process into 3 parts, and that's what we'll go through right now. So there's pre-production, production, and post-production. And pre-production is probably like typically the least fun because it's all the planning and the organizing, but I have learned time and again that the more time you spend into planning, the better the end result will be and the easier the end result will be created. So it's just gonna make your life easier. And what I found for me, and I've tried all kinds of methods over the years, is that a notebook works best to get things started. And I just have this notebook that I got at the office supply store. Keep this with me all the time. It's not digital. It's probably not efficient to do things this way. It doesn't, convert to the cloud or whatever. But this is just where I keep all of my ideas for videos. So, and just kind of other notes about the channel. And every time I have an idea for a video, I just grab a page, I put the topic that I think the video is gonna be about, maybe put some ideas for what the title is going to be, because your title is such a hugely important part of getting people to actually click on your video. And then I start listing out some of the main points that I wanna hit. This might be where I also put a shot list. Sometimes I'll sketch out very rough ideas of what I want the thumbnail to look like for the video. I'll also do like checklists to make sure that I know, don't forget to take a thumbnail, don't forget to do an end screen once it's uploaded, don't forget to get captions done, and just sort of all those little back end things. Once you upload the video to YouTube and there's still like an hour of work to do to get the video ready to go, I wanna make sure that I don't miss any of those steps because they can be really, really important. And when it comes time to make a video, usually I know what video I wanna make for that week, but if I don't, or I'm kind of like figuring it out, I can just flip through my ideas and just find the one that sounds the best at that time. It's probably a better strategy to it than that, but I kind of just go with the thing that I think is gonna be the most helpful, the most interesting, or the most fun, or ideally a combination of all of those. And depending on the video, my notes might be all that I do. I might just make these notes and then just go. That's basically what I did for this video, is I just kind of outlined the main points I wanted to hit. I know this stuff pretty well, so I don't think I need it in a prompter or a script or anything. And sometimes I'll start typing the notes into my computer on the Notes app, and I might use that as reference. If it's really technical, that just might organically turn itself into a script. In that case, I might use the teleprompter while I film the video. And I actually just made a video all about how I use a teleprompter on some of my videos, not all of them, but some of them. I'm not using one right now. This is just all straight from the heart. And then once I've got that basic plan, it's time to jump into production. And the production phase is where I actually start to make the video, get out the cameras, get out the gear, and sit in front of the camera and do the whole thing. So for my main camera, it shouldn't be any surprise that I'm using the Canon EOS R, which I absolutely love. I cannot tell you how great this camera is. It's so underrated. It's just my favorite. I love it. I'm sorry the 6D Mark II is in the closet. I still love that camera too, but the R just really kind of came in and just blew the doors off of everything. So that's my main camera. Film at 24 frames a second. With all eye compression, so that way it's the highest bit rate, the most data going into the video file, which is gonna give the best quality. And then from there, I plug in this Rode VideoMic Pro Plus directly to the camera for the audio. This is on a Rode PSA-1 boom arm, and then I also put an articulating arm at the end of it, so that way I can really position the microphone exactly where I need it for shots. And I try to get it as close to me as possible, pointing directly at my face without being in the camera shot. And then for lenses, pretty much every time I'm filming in here, well actually just kind of in general, it's the Sigma 24mm 1.4. I did an entire review about that lens. Of course, all this equipment will be linked down below too if you want to know more about it or buy some for yourself. But this lens is just magic. It basically lives on my camera. I kind of only switch it out when I really need something else for a specific purpose. That's my main setup. The camera is on a Manfrotto tripod, actually a really older model that I've had just forever, for like 8 or 9 years. And then recently, I just got the Edelkrone Slider 1. It's just a little motorized slider. There was an incredible holiday deal on it, so I bought one. Before that, I used a Canova K2 slider, but I basically just always have my camera on a slider on a tripod. That helps set up shots, that helps with B-roll footage. I try to keep everything as practical as possible and as easy as possible. So those are my main settings. I do film at f1.4 on this lens, and the EOS R's eye autofocus really helps. Right now the camera's kind of far away because I'm doing sort of an unusual shot, but it's still locked right on my eye and keeping me right in focus. and then I film usually with an ISO at 160. I know the R's ideal ISO is like 400, but I found that in this room that's a little too bright. And speaking of room and the space, this room has become sort of like a character in my videos because it's where most of them are filmed. So for me, when I started filming in here, this was just the extra office slash music room that I had, and I started making videos in here. And after doing that for a while, I kind of switched the room around to accommodate video production more easily. So I moved my desk over here, which really makes no sense in a room because the desk is just facing a closet door. But that way the blue wall that I really like with all my pictures and stuff behind me can be in the background with like the drums. I know like this isn't a drum channel or a music channel, but I like those there because drums are really cool and the cymbals are shiny and they reflect the light, and I like the way that it looks. I've seen a lot of trends on YouTube recently where a lot of people have really dark locations where they film, like it's very dark and moody, and for some reason I just wanted to go bright, so I don't really use the dark lighting. I use like kind of just bigger, brighter colors, splashes of color everywhere. I like things that are big and bright, and it just, you know, I find it very eye-catching. But wherever I'm filming, I always try to make sure there's depth between me and the background. So even if it's outdoors or in a different location or from a different angle, I never want to be up against the wall because it just doesn't look good, and it creates these really harsh, ugly shadows. So by being far away, I think I'm probably 8 feet away from that wall in the back, it just provides depth, which allows for the background to be blurred and for me to stand out a little bit more, and it just provides a more pleasing look. So adding that depth is really key. And then I play around with lights. I've been using the Falconize 18 something or other. I'll link to it down below, but it's an 18-inch LED flat panel. Like it's like a flexible panel light. It's amazing. I was using a cheaper, way cheaper, Amazon fluorescent light that I found for like $85. I made a whole video about that, and that was a great light, but I used it wrong and I kind of broke the handle on it a little bit, so it was stuck in one position. Gary from the Everyday Dad, which is like one of my favorite channels, recommended this light to me, and it's amazing because it's crazy bright, crazy bright. I'll do a whole separate review on it, but it also takes up way less space, and I've really been enjoying this light. I've also got a smaller Dracast light, which is adding some fill. If I turn off my main light, that's what it looks like. So this is the Falconize light. I turn that on at 85%, so this is with not even 100%. And then I've got this little fill light over here that's actually not even pointed directly at me. It's pointed at the window and then reflecting off the blinds back at me. If it was pointed straight at me, the lighting would just become much harsher and the shadows would be harsh, and I just don't really like that look. So that's why I bounce it off the blind, just to make it a little softer. Down here, floating around somewhere, I usually have this other small Dracast light. Sometimes I'll put it over here as like a hair light, but I have a hard time finding a place to mount it. So oftentimes I'll actually just set it down on the ground near me, and it's like, it usually just adds some outer like rim light on my side and my arm and stuff. It just kind of, again, brings in depth, brings in color, just makes things look a little bit interesting. In my little cabinet back there, I have a couple small battery-powered LED lights that I throw in there to brighten it up, because I noticed in the background, even though it's just full of 3D printer filament, if the lights aren't there, it looks really dark. And with the lights there, it just adds, again, more visual interest, more like texture to look at, color to look at. And those are all my lighting. Oh, these lights. I made a video about this, but I've got some colored LEDs. Some of them are really cheapos from Amazon that are fine, and other ones are Philips Hue lights, and I kind of keep the same colors around, lots of blues and magentas, because I like those colors, I like the way they look on camera. I love the feeling of this room when it's all brightly lit up and I get to make a video. It's just like, it's a fun place to be. During production, I also make sure to take a thumbnail, and this took forever to embed into my workflow. I always forgot to do a thumbnail, and then I'd have to rush something, or I would try to work with a screen capture or something. But now it's literally part of my list and my workflow is to take a dedicated thumbnail, actually put the camera into photo mode, take a picture. Sometimes that can take a while. I spend sometimes too much time maybe trying to get thumbnails and play with lighting, but it's also like really fun to be experimental with and try to keep them consistent in style, but also try new things, especially with lighting, because products and stuff, like if I were doing a thumbnail about these headphones, finding a way to position them, finding a way to light them, you know, add things on them that makes them look really great is fun. I have this little glass table that I bought from Monoprice. It's a black glass computer monitor riser, but I've been using it for a lot of B-roll shots because I like the way the reflective black surface looks. So sometimes I'll just put that right here and then film all my B-roll. And usually when I'm making a video, there's two parts that I film. There's the talking part and then all of the B-roll. And so I'll typically do the talking part first, like this, where I'm sitting in front of the camera and talking. And then once I'm done with that, then I go into the B-roll production. And that has become really fun for me. B-roll is really important. So if I'm talking about a product or I'm talking about, look, it's this 3D printed tripod head, having shots of it are really important. Even in this video, as I'm talking about my set and my equipment and stuff, making sure that I show those things when I mention them is gonna make the video more interesting and make the things I'm talking about more clear. So I always have to remember to get those shots when I'm done filming. So once I've done my talking head portion, which is this, then I go into B-roll. Depending on what it is, I set it up, lots of sliders. What I've been really loving lately is to just put on some music, like on the record player back there or just on my phone, and just spend time listening to music and trying to get really cool shots of things and experiment a little bit, play with lighting. I usually dim the light quite a bit so it's moodier for the B-roll, and the products or the item or the whatever really stands out. And I've been having a lot of fun doing that. What I found is that the more fun I have filming the B-roll, the more B-roll I film, which is usually a good thing because when it comes time to edit, it gives me more options of what to choose in the final video. And that kind of pulls us right into post-production and editing. So when I'm done, I put everything onto a Samsung T5 SSD, and that's a really great, reliable drive. That way it doesn't keep any of this footage, any of the Final Cut libraries on my actual computer, because those things can just balloon up in size and start getting a little bit out of control really quickly. So I don't keep any of the footage on my computer usually. I keep it all on an external hard drive and I edit off of that. So once the footage is there and it's organized into a folder, that's when I import it into Final Cut Pro. My first step is to start editing the talking head portion of the video, go through and cut it and get rid of all the mistakes, because yes, I actually do make mistakes, believe it or not. I make a lot of mistakes. And then and any weird awkward pauses or terrible jokes, of which there are many. And then I finally have like my full just talking part of the video. From there, I'll go in and throw on some B-roll footage on top of that. Once I've got like a final rough cut, if that's a thing, a final rough cut finished, then I start adding in music, and I pretty much get all my music either from Artlist or Epidemic. I made a video comparing both of them. I've got affiliate links to both of them. For Artlist, you can get 2 extra free months, and for Epidemic, you can get a 30-day free trial. But literally, most of my videos have music from each service in it, so I use both. I've used them for a long time. Artlist was actually the very first service I ever signed up for after starting my channel. It's like the first money I ever sunk into my channel was into Artlist, and having access to all that music really, really helps for just so many different reasons. So then I start adding in the music, mixing everything down. At this point, I've watched the video a lot of times, and I can start to feel what's working, what's not working. And then it's at that point that I'll usually show it to Heather, see what she thinks. If she thinks that it's good and I think that it's good, then I export it. I've been doing all my videos in 3840 by 1920, which gives a 2:1 aspect ratio. So I make sure to export with those settings to upload to YouTube. Usually while the video is uploading, or sometimes even before I start editing, that's when I'll make my thumbnail. It's usually a combination of Lightroom, Photoshop, and Procreate is the main things that I use. And typically I'll go through all my photos that I took for the thumbnail in Lightroom. I'll find the ones I like, adjust them, and then just because I like them in Lightroom doesn't mean they're gonna be the best thumbnail. So then I'll put them into Photoshop, into a 1920 by 1080 document or canvas, and I'll see what looks good in that size. And then I'll also see what works with text. And so I use the iPad Pro and Procreate to draw out the titles. I put that into Photoshop, combine them till it comes out in a way that I like, and then that's my thumbnail. I also use Procreate if I need to do any titles during videos themselves. That's why I use Procreate, and then just airdrop those files to my MacBook and then put it into Final Cut Pro. And that's a really awesome, pretty seamless workflow. Once the video is done uploading, then I go to rev.com and get captions for it. They charge like $1.25 per minute of edited video. And I think that that's really important because it makes your video much more accessible to everybody. And to me, that's just, I'm all about like inclusion and everybody being part of it. And so captions help that, not only for people who are hard of hearing, but lots of people I've known just watch the videos with captions all the time because it's helpful and it's easy. And sometimes I've also had people tell me that if they don't speak English, having correct human typed out captions that are accurate makes it easier to translate those into other languages. So again, it just helps make the videos more accessible to more people, which I think is really, really important. So I've got the thumbnail done, I've got my captions done, I've got my description and my title and my tags. And then at that point, it's really just time to schedule the video. I used to just post my videos as soon as I was done with them, which is kind of what I'm doing with this one because it's a celebration video. But when I finish a video, I'm so excited for people to see it. I just want to share it, but I also like have to manage my life where I can't make videos and I want to have a consistent schedule. So when I'm done with the video, I'll schedule it for the next Thursday so that it can upload, and I might have a few days to like think about it or adjust the title or swap out the thumbnail if I want to. It was really hard for me to learn how to build those patience between finishing a video and releasing the video, but it really relieved a lot of stress because I wasn't putting myself under an unnecessary deadline. So in order to achieve better work-life YouTube balance, scheduling out videos really, really helped. And having a couple videos that are finished that I can like swap out or move around, or if something goes crazy and I don't have time to film a video, like it's really important to me not to miss an upload date, not to miss a Thursday morning. And so I want to do everything I can to make sure that I have videos ready to go, or a video ready to go every Thursday. So that's pretty much the process from start to finish for a typical video. It usually takes me maybe 2 to 3 hours to film, and then anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to edit. Usually throughout the course of a weekend is when I put the video together. If I'm like a superstar, I can do 2 videos in one weekend, but then I'm like crazy exhausted. All the equipment I talked about in this video is linked down in the description. And of course, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, please feel free to ask me, because like I talked about at the beginning of the video, that sense of community and getting to talk to and getting to know and interact with people is really one of the best parts of having a YouTube channel. So I friggin' love camera gear and filming stuff and video stuff. So I'm happy to talk about that stuff like all day long. And I think that's the whole process. And now I get to go into the post-production. Actually, no. Next I need to do B-roll for this video and then post-production for this video, and then I can upload it, and then you can watch it, or I guess you are watching it. But again, thank you 10,000 times over for hitting that milestone of 10,000. I've heard other people say, when I started my channel, I never expected to hit this number. And literally when I started my channel, I never expected to hit this number. It is just a bonkers, crazy, big number. And I appreciate it, and I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I hope that you like the videos I make, and I hope that I continue to make videos that you like, and I love that you're here, and thank you times 10,000.